Sean Dyche, experienced manager. He's come against Town many times in the Championship with Burnley and Watford, I think, back in the day as well. What's the feeling with him, and what's the current mood with Toffee fans going into this season?
Yeah, I think there's an immense degree of respect for him and what he's done. He's been there for 18 months or so now. He came in the back end of the second half of the season that ended in 2023, and I think a lot of Everton fans thought that relegation was a distinct possibility. It was a club that was on a bit of a death spiral. The way in which he managed to keep them up, it took to the last game of the season, and they needed to beat Bournemouth, and they did so. But staying up that season was a real achievement. Then last season, I think there was hope that things would get a little bit better, but all that work was undermined by the points deductions. So for him to have kept Everton up again, I think he has worked miracles there, and I think there's a degree of respect for him. I think there's a bit of frustration over things like tactics and style of play, and perhaps some of the some of the way in which he keeps things close to his chest. But I think that there's an acknowledgement from Everton supporters that he has had to work a very difficult job in very challenging circumstances, and for him to have kept the club afloat in the Premier League throughout is a remarkable achievement. So he goes into the season with a degree of goodwill from Everton supporters. There's more they would like to see. They'd like to see some more expansive football, some more attacking football. But what they have seen for 18 months is effective football. And given all the challenges that they faced off the pitch, that's been the most important thing, and he's delivered.
How do you reckon Ipswich Town will do? We've seen, in seasons gone by, the teams who go up, they pretty much go straight down, just like basically last season, Burnley, Luton, Sheffield United, they went straight back down. But, we're still early days in pre-season when we're recording this. But, from afar, Kieran McKenna, obviously a very young manager, done really well the last two seasons. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think Kieran McKenna's done a brilliant job, and it's clear that he has a skill set that's appreciated by a lot of clubs outside of Ipswich as well. He's not just a one man in the right place at the right time, taking the right club up to success. I think there's a belief within the footballing world that he has the knowledge and the expertise to be able to perhaps move on to other clubs and apply that and have success there. So I don't think that there'll be any naivety or ignorance from Ipswich coming up. I do think it'll be incredibly challenging for them. We have seen that the gulf is significant. And I think that one of the problems the club will have just dealing with is the fact that it doesn't really have a Premier League infrastructure from having been out of the top flight for so long. When you look at Southampton and Leicester, they've only spent one season outside of the top flight, and they retain significant parts of their squads and their staff as a result. So Ipswich will be playing catch up a lot there, and I think that they'll probably need other teams. It's not just the freshness that they'll bring to the Premier League that will give them a chance, as it gave Luton a bit of a chance last season. There'll probably need to be a drop-off from a couple of other clubs, but we do typically tend to see that. Obviously, Leicester are in a position where they have profit and sustainability issues, so there may well be a points deduction for Leicester. There'll be a couple of other clubs that are looking nervously over their shoulders when come the new year, when these things get sorted. And there are a couple of other clubs as well, I think, have got very, very big summers, squads that when all is going well, they're comfortable mid-table sides. But if the wrong players leave and the wrong injuries hit, then they could end up being in trouble. Your likes of your Brentfords and, obviously Palace have just sold Elise. They've got a new manager who ended last season really, really well. But they'll probably need to require a slow start, a bit of a drop-off from a couple of other clubs. But hopefully they'll come in, give it a good go and do well. I think there is a space for teams that come in and are just well run. Like we've seen Brentford did it, we've seen Brighton did it. If you've got your eggs in, if you've got your eggs all lined up and everything is pointing in the right direction, so many of those clubs in the Premier League, and this is why Everton have struggled in recent seasons, though they haven't fallen out, so many can make a real mess of it. And the hope has got to be that Ipswich are in a position where they can capitalise on that. They've just got to exploit the opportunities, make the most of Portman Road and the home games, and then, hopefully as the season's getting on, just carry on taking those opportunities to pick up points when you play against a team that's, in its own mess.